This morning I'm coming to you with 10 steps, 10 things that you need to do. It's kind of like a business audit check-in of things that you need to get done and make sure you have in place before engagement season, because engagement season is right around the corner. We are coming up on holidays and the end of the year, and studies and statistics have told us that that is when the majority of engagements happen. So they happen all throughout the year, but if there's any time that a certain amount of them all kind of cluster together, it's the holidays. So you just have back-to-back holidays and then of course the new year, and you can expect an influx in engagements. So I have some notes here on my computer and I'm just going to make sure that everything is rolling along. So if you guys are watching, give the video a thumbs up, let me know that you can hear me, and I'm going to start diving straight into my 10 tips and kind of strategies, things that you need to do so that you're ready for engagement season, so you can start attracting and booking some engaged brides and grooms to be. Okay guys, so the first thing I want to tell you is that you need to update your blog and your website regularly. Now, if you don't have a blog, let this be your official announcement that you need to have a blog. The reason for this being so many things. First of all, Google will reward websites that are updated regularly. You're just not going to have to fight as hard to rank and have search engine optimization be on your side if you are regularly updating your work. Also, if someone comes to your website and nothing has really been updated for quite some time, as a consumer, I would wonder if you're even still working. Are you still doing weddings? Are you working at venues that I would like to see your work at? It just makes people wonder, what have you been up to? Are you still active? So first thing you need to be doing is creating a game plan and getting on and making sure that you have updated work, you're tagging other vendors, you're creating links, backlinks to other work, so that if somebody stumbles upon your website, they have more things to look at. They can go to your blog, they can see updated work, they can see all kinds of stuff. So does that make sense, guys? That's the first point. I'm not getting any comments on here. It's funny, I can see them on my laptop, but I don't see them on my phone. Weird. Sorry if I'm missing your comments, guys. So if you are not blogging, I urge you begin blogging. It is super crucial for being discovered online, for getting more traffic to your work, and then ultimately having people become more interested in you as a photographer and hopefully booking you, right? So that is tip number 1. If you guys have questions throughout, go ahead and start throwing them in the comment section, and I will circle back and do a short Q&A time at the end. Okay, so the second thing that you guys are going to want to do and check in before engagement season is that you're going to want to create a social media game plan. So you need to decide what platforms are you going to be focusing on, and that should depend on who's your client, right? Where are they? What do they want to see? So you're going to have a game plan for what you're going to be posting, how often, and where. So go ahead, write that down, create a game plan, and then use platforms like Hootsuite or scheduling platforms to make sure that you are being consistent. Because I think as the holidays roll around, it is so crucial that you're on Instagram and that you're on Facebook and that your blog is updated. All these things are happening, but I think there's almost no time of the year where you're less likely, I don't even know if that sentence made sense, but it's really difficult during the holidays to be posting on Instagram and to make sure your hashtags are on point, and that you're on Twitter and maybe you're pushing things over to Google Plus and all these things. So I think the only way that this is going to get done is if you are proactive, getting onto a platform like Hootsuite or a scheduling software of some kind and putting your posts in there and scheduling them out ahead of time. So you know every Monday morning you have a new blog post, and every Wednesday morning you have your Wedding Wednesday Instagram post, and every Friday you have your Future Friday tweets, that kind of thing. So it's all pre-scheduled and you have a little bit of that work done ahead of time, so that when it comes time and it's like Thanksgiving week and things are crazy, you're not looking through your archives trying to find, what do I post this week? What do I share? How's this gonna work? That kind of thing. All right, let me see. I don't know why, for whatever reason, when I have my phone turned sideways, I can't see comments. So I'm just gonna look on my computer. Okay, Cool, so you guys are watching and you can see me. I will address your question at the end, Alda. Okay, so you have your game plan, you're looking at social media, that kind of thing. The next thing that you're going to want to have ready for engagement season are your contracts. So make sure that you are ready to go to have potential clients come up to you and say, hey, I want to book you. How much are your collections? What are your policies? How much money do I have to put down to secure the date, right? So having all of your business policies worked out ahead of time so that you can be quick and on your feet and fast is going to make all the difference, because the timeliness of these things is everything during the holiday season. If you're kind of, crazy, everything in your life is all over the place, you don't know where the contracts are, you don't know how you're sending them, you don't know how you're signing them, and you don't have these things worked out, even like legal stuff on the legal end, it's going to delay that process, and you could literally miss out on clients because you're not on top of that stuff. So that's super important to return. Make sure your contract is airtight. Make sure you're happy with that contract. Do you like everything? Do you feel protected? Does it serve your clients and yourself well? That's something to check in now before you're about to sign a prospective bride. Okay. Along the same vein is have your booking process down. So when someone inquires with you, what's the first thing you write back? Is that something that you write out every single time by hand, or is that something that can be pre-written, or at least partially pre-written? Do you have a series of steps, almost like a timeline, that every client should go through, and is that something that you've established? So to make sure that everybody gets a really consistent experience, it would be great if you right now, before things get crazy in booking for 2018 and 2019, you know where your proposals go and brochures, and do you have a welcome brochure? Do you have a Q&A page? Do you have something that you can send people to when they have questions? Or are you going to be stuck behind your computer writing out the same answers over and over and over and over? So that's something that you need to get ahead of time, start thinking about now. I use HoneyBook. That's the software I use for my proposals, my bookings, my invoices, my calendar, where I know it sends me notifications when I have a session coming up. It sends me reminders that my clients have paid, so I'm not chasing people down for their money. I don't even really have to think about it or remember it anymore. It's all scheduled into the software. So the software says, hey, automatic reminder, your 60% remaining deposit is due, and here's the amount. You can send a check here or you can pay here. So my client just feels like they're taken care of, and I'm not like, hey, you need to pay me. So it keeps that money really separate and the experience really special. So if you don't have client management software, check out HoneyBook. I have a 50% off code. I'll throw it in the description section once I re-upload or inside of a comment. But there are 100 softwares out there. Try something. I think the ultimate point here is that you need to have a system in place. That's all. Even if that system is your computer and you have a spreadsheet and you have a system and you know that you can just make PDFs and that your clients will print them and you will deal with paper contracts. That's not a problem. There's nothing wrong with that. As long as you have a system and you have your booking process figured out, because that's the important part here. Okay. The next thing that you need to do before booking season is to have a goal in place. Because how will you know if you are successful at any of this if you haven't set a goal? You haven't put a name on your success. So I think it can be a little crazy because everybody shares, oh, I have 50 weddings booked. Oh, I have, half my season is booked out. And people are constantly kind of bragging about these things, but you don't know what their version of success is. So you don't know that they might have only wanted to book 8 weddings, and when they say they booked half their wedding season, that's literally 4 weddings. Do you know what I mean? So to not be derailed by what everyone else is doing, I think you need to have your goals firmly and physically written down as to what you want to accomplish in the coming year, so that when somebody inquires and you book those 3 weddings or those 6 weddings or those 30 weddings, you know that was a success for you, or I got really close to my goal. Next year, we're going to do better. So you need to know that your goals are yours alone, and ultimately that is only going to happen, and you're only going to be clear on whether or not you were successful in this booking season and in the next year if you write it down and you're really clear on that. So I'm really big on written goals. I'm really big on having somebody to tell those goals to, and once those goals are written down and you know, like, hey, I want to do 10 of my own weddings. Once you have that written down, it becomes sort of this like reverse engineering of like, okay, how am I going to get those 10 weddings? Instead of saying, I want to be a full-time photographer. It's like, well, what does full-time mean to you, right? Like, I mean, that's even like a question. Like, how much money do you want to make? How many gigs do you want to have? So once you're really clear on it, it's a lot easier to say, okay, I need to talk to 5 different planners and get those referrals, and I'm going to post onto Facebook, and I'm going to maybe put a few ads here and there. And so you kind of have a plan because you know you only need 10 clients. So once you're firm on those goals and where your success is, like where that bar would be and how to reach it, it gets easier to reach it, honestly, I think, because then it's not this like ambiguous thing of like, how am I going to book weddings for next year? Okay, where are we at? How are you guys doing? I just want to check in, see if you guys are still watching. Okay, so you know how many weddings you want. You're starting to think about how you're going to get those leads, and that's exactly what we were just talking about. And then you need to start thinking about traffic. You know, where are those brides going to come from? How are you going to get the traffic to your website? That's where the blogging comes in. That's where the social media comes in. Maybe even a little bit of networking or some paid advertising or some small gifts sent out to venues or vendors. You start to think about where is that traffic going to come from, and then you can be intentional about that. So I really want you guys to not wake up in January and be like, oh man, I wish I had more weddings booked. Because now is the time to get clear on what you want. Now is the time to make your plan as to where these leads are going to come from, where the traffic is going to come from, and how you're going to accomplish whatever number you want for next year. Okay, so you're going to be intentional about those leads. Okay, the next point that I have for you guys is and this might be a little bit counterintuitive, but don't be so focused on the client that you're going to get later and forget about the client that you have now. So if you have any clients, and even if you have past clients, do not forget to spoil them and appreciate them and make them feel so important, because people want to feel important. That's just like a basic human need, and people like to feel heard and important and listened to. And if you can do that to your clients, that will in turn lead to more clients. So don't forget about the people that you've already served and what the relationship of just coming back, circling back, saying hi to them, circling back and seeing if they'd like another family session or if they know anyone who's getting engaged. That relationship is way more likely to lead to more than just going out and getting cold leads. So don't forget about the people and the clients that you currently have and you currently serve, which could very easily lead to more bookings, for sure. Okay. The next thing that you need to do before we move into booking season is to get clear on your brand message and your aesthetics and who you want to serve, because this ultimately makes every decision that you have to make in your business, every blog post title or pricing model or meeting or email, make more sense, because you have something to put like as a filter. You can say, does this fit my brand? What is reflective of my brand? And once you know who you are and the brand experience that you're trying to give, everything else becomes far, far more simple to accomplish, to create, especially in content creation. Now, your brand is obviously more than your colors and your logo. It's the experience and the feeling that someone gets when they work with you. So when you get clear on that, it becomes so much easier to create content and share content, and in turn, attract these people that feel like you're just meant for them, because you're so clear on who your brand is and your core values and all of those things that is speaking so loudly to them. So that's something that I think if you don't have your brand in order, if you don't know who you are and you're sending a message that's just completely different over here and then over here and there's no consistency, your client will be confused. And if you have a confused client, you probably don't have a client at all. You just have a prospective client that got confused and then went somewhere else and hired someone else. So being super, super clear on your brand and understanding what that even means is absolutely crucial to business success in general, not even just photography. So if you are not sure about these things and you want to get more sure, I urge you, find a book, find a mentor, or find a coach. I'm still offering coaching sessions. In fact, if you email me on my education page, and I'll link that up below, and you all reference this live stream, I will give 25% off to the next 10 people who inquire. I'm only having 10 more spots for the remainder of the year. So if you would like to get a one-on-one mentor session with me where maybe we can go over some of these things and put a strategy in place for your booking season so that you can hook and book more brides, go ahead and reach out to me. Reference this live stream. I'm not going to share the deal anywhere else. I'm not going to send it to my newsletter. I'm not going to repeat it after this. So you guys are the only ones who know about it. It's only the first 10 people. So if you guys hurry up and head over and decide to book a session, we can get that in motion and I can give you guys some custom advice to your business. So the last tip is kind of along that same vein, is that you should find a mentor or a peer or some sort of accountability so that you can share your goals, so that you can share your website, your work, so that you can be really real with yourself and say, is this the strongest work that I have? Does this send a clear message? Am I portraying a brand that is X, Y, and Z? And if someone's like real with you and is honest with you and can truly give you that feedback, you will begin to grow. If you don't have a mentor or a guide or a coach, it can be really hard. It's just you alone in this business by yourself. And so it's a little hard to get some really custom feedback. So I would say pursue a mentorship, pursue some help, or even just peers. Even within this group, this Photoboss Facebook group is a fantastic area for people to really share their work and get honest feedback. I've seen some really wonderful critiquing going on the wall and inside of this group. So if you are somebody that's looking for that beyond a coaching session with me, go ahead and look within this group and reach out to people within this group, because I think you would be pleasantly surprised for sure as to the amount of help that you could get just within this group alone. All right, guys, so I am going to look at everybody's comments. Let's see what we have so far. Okay, Casey asks, what do you consider to be your brand? This might help us to know where to start. That is a great question. Your brand is kind of a culmination of like your core values, your aesthetics, your vision, and your ideal client, kind of all wrapped up into like this like core of who your business is. So it's what it is like to work with you. It's who you serve, right? So if you have a certain, like, what are your services? You may have these 3 specific services, but you do them in this specific way. So it can be a little bit hard to be specific about what your brand is, Casey, but I can tell you my brand. I have a fine art wedding photography business that is romantic, elegant, and authentic, where I like to make my clients feel comfortable, and they're not models in front of the camera, but I want them to look like models. And that experience with me is going to be really easy. It's going to be laid back. They're going to feel taken care of. And I'm going to bring an expert's point of view to their wedding day and create art from their wedding day. So that's sort of my brand. Those are some of my core values, and every part of my experience, well, my client's experience when they talk to me reflects that. So when they inquire, those are the types of words I'm using. It's in your copy. Those are the types of colors they're seeing. My brand as the visual brand, the colors, logos, text, fonts, that kind of stuff, that will reflect that as well. So it's kind of all along that same vein, but it's what you write in your Instagram captions. It's what you share. It's how you share it. It is kind of this all-encompassing feeling that someone gets from your company, and of course the visuals as well. So it's a little bit of everything, and then that's where it kind of dilutes into this word brand. And that's why a lot of companies, they'll talk about their brand being, bold, or their brand being about the community. So like Nike's brand is inspirational, it's clean, it's modern, it's like fitness and health related, but it gives you a certain feeling, right? You're not going to get this like mom and pop feeling from Nike, whereas you may get a mom and pop feeling from even like a Patagonia. They have that like mountainy, like each store feels smaller and less commercial, even though they're commercial. These are feelings, and these are things that all trickle back down to brand. So getting clear on your brand is absolutely crucial. So I'd love to help you more. If you can tell me more about the types of clients you serve or would like to serve, and what kind of brands you are attracted to or brand that you would like to be one day, I could definitely help you further. All right, Lauren Bloom, thanks for doing this. I'm editing and listening. Hi, Lauren. I'm so glad you're here and that you're getting something out of this. I hope that you're learning a lot. Alda says, I would love to blog, but I still have issues keeping up with regular posts, mainly because photography isn't my main job. You look great today. Thanks, Alda. You are awesome. Let's see. I would say if you have a hard time keeping up, that is like, I completely understand. Like the amount of time that is, you know, that you have to commit to blogging, it can be overwhelming. But what I would encourage you to do is to reuse content. So don't get sucked into this idea that you have to create this like new post for your blog and something new for Instagram and something new for Facebook, and you just have to be this content creation machine. I would say make one good blog post that serves your target audience well, and then reuse little tiny snippets, like a few sentences here and there, onto your Instagram, and then the same picture onto your Instagram, and even point people to your blog post from Instagram. Start to recycle it. That way, if you take an hour or two outside of your regular day job and you create some content, you have created content for all of your social media platforms for the next like 3 weeks, because you thought about it out ahead of time and you know you can recycle the content. So I would say that would be one really good way to maximize a blog post when you don't have a lot of time. But frankly, I'm going to be really honest with you guys. If you're saying you don't have time to blog, I would argue you don't have time not to blog. If you want to book more weddings and you want your website to be found by people who don't know you, not your friends, not your family, like people on the internet who may be ready to buy and hire your services, you must blog. So you have to find time to, and I think content creation and recycling is a good way to do that. Okay. Christine Small asks, has your brand changed or altered in any way since you began your business? And what would you say to someone who seems constantly be inspired by other different looks or editing techniques that may not be cohesive to their overall look? Oh gosh, that's a really good question. Absolutely. I mean, I would say for the first few years, I was doing so much like growing and experimenting with my style and just trying to figure out who I was and what clients I loved to serve. And so there was a process there. And I eventually walked through some steps where I was able to like put pen to paper and decide who I was going to serve, and that I couldn't be everything to everyone. And even though I really admire so many different photography styles, that I had to find what was mine, what was authentically me, and then do well at that, because that's the only way I can really serve people well. So yeah, I would say that it's absolutely a process, and that's okay, and that you will be inspired by other people. But what I would encourage you to do is go through like a process of soul-seeking time, either with me or with another professional or through a branding, like a workbook or a book itself, and try to nail down some of the things that you are most attracted to in style and aesthetics, because you could be attracted to lots of different colors and things, but ultimately there will be that one sweet spot where it's just you. And when you identify that, I would say stop looking at everyone else's stuff, if anything. And if you feel like you really fall into this a lot and you get influenced really easily by other people's work, I would say cut it out. Like unfollow people. Like just, you have to stop. You have to quiet the noise so that you can focus on your artwork and who you are and your clients and who you want to attract, because it can be noisy. It can be really hard, and it can feel like, you know, you watch it, you scroll through too many people's feeds and suddenly you don't like your work anymore. So if that's happening to you, I think return to your why, return to your core values, figure out who you are, and just block everybody else out. I mean, not block them. I mean, if you have to block them, but just unfollow them and hide people from your Facebook feed. The cool thing about Facebook is that you don't have to like fully unlike or defriend people. You can just quiet them and they never know, and you just sort of like hide their stuff, and you can be friends but not have to see all their stuff. That's what I do all the time. Brenda's saying, yes, girl, unfollow. Comparison is the thief of joy. And it really is. I mean, you cannot compare you don't know their brand goals and their mission and their clients, and if their clients are awesome and treat them well, and you just don't know all the behind the scenes. You got to do you got to focus on you, and that's where I think knowing your brand is just so core. So I'm working on creating a PDF, a course, a comprehensive guide that can kind of go over like establishing your brand as a wedding photographer. I don't know if you guys would be interested in this, because I think it is so incredibly core, but it's so hard to do, right? Like, especially when you're starting out, you're just like, I don't know, like, and you're like, what's your unique gift? And people are like, I don't know. So I really want to create a resource for you guys that can really become a guide in this area, in branding, so that you guys have a bit more of a guide in this area. So if that's something that you're interested in, and that sounds like something that you would like or would even purchase, let me know. If it's not interesting, if brand and message and core values and all this stuff is not interesting, please let me know, because it's something that I've been working towards. I've been writing some content about and really pouring a lot of heart into. But I would really like to know, like, if that's not something that you guys are interested in, let me know. I would like to know, because I want to make sure that it's something that would serve you well. Siobhan asked, are there any branding books that you recommend? Yeah, I will. Let me think about that. I will create, so Primal Branding, amazing. Purple Cow, Seth Godin, amazing. I will come back. I'll circle back to you guys. So honestly, the best branding information I've ever gotten was from another mentor that I hired, and I went to a workshop. I went to a business workshop that was all about branding. So I haven't found a book that really like all encompasses what I want to share with you guys. And that's why I want to create this piece of information, this course that I feel would really help you guys. I will definitely come back, circle back, and comment some of my favorite branding books for you guys, stuff that I've read, that I think would be good resources if you guys are just starting out in your branding journey. So yeah, for sure, Siobhan, I'll definitely add that. Okay. Christine says, great advice. It is something that seems to be happening lately, that I'm so easily influenced by other amazing creatives and then compare them to my work, and then I see the differences as negative. Yeah, no, I feel like that's just everyone in life. Like, we're all in that boat with you. It's like you liked your outfit, and then you leave the house and you're like, I don't like my outfit anymore. I want their outfit. It's just, that's human nature. And so I think we have to be so intentional about like resisting that and refusing to see the differences as negative. I love the way you put that too, that like, just because they're different doesn't make it negative. In fact, all of your differences, all the things that make me, may be reasons why any of you guys are even here. My differences can be good. And if I always saw them as negative, and I'm in this constant pursuit of like changing and being a chameleon and doing work the way other people do work, I might not have established a YouTube channel, and I might not have grown a voice, and I may not be who I am today. So I think you have to trust that like your purpose is in like your authenticity, and as soon as you find out who you really are, you'll grow to your most fullest potential. I don't know, I'm literally like just connecting that for the first time, that like it's a disservice for you guys not to find out who you are and the work you like to do and who you like to serve. It honestly, you're going to be happier, your clients are going to be happier, and everyone else is going to love your work even more for it because of it. So lean into those differences for sure. Okay, Christine said a branding course would be beneficial. Yes. Alda said yes, an ebook from Joy on the business of photography. Yes. Okay, girl, love it. I have to like and heart these comments because that is awesome to hear. Lauren Bloom said I'd be very interested in a branding course. Okay, I am super encouraged that you guys are interested in this topic, because I just think this is so fundamental. This is so huge, and not in like this is so simple, like this is so important. And if you don't have the brand and the marketing and all that like base stuff of your business down, it will never matter how good your work is or how expensive your lenses are. Or if people don't know who you are and what you're about, it doesn't matter, right? Like, it doesn't really count if no one knows that you're there, if no one knows that you would love to photograph their wedding, right? So awesome. Casey's also interested in a branding course. I am super excited, guys. This is super encouraging to me. I'm going to keep working on it. I have been actually working on it for many months. I have been reading a lot of books and taking bits and pieces from everything in life. And when I mentor you guys, when I have one-on-one Skype sessions or phone calls with you guys, I make notes of like, what are some across the board issues that we need to address in this course. So I have been growing it for a long time, but now it's great to hear that you guys know that it would be a game changer in your business to have a better, firmer vision of your brand, and that is ultimately huge for attracting and booking your ideal client. Okay, Brenda says, it's a whole lot of time and work to really find yourself in this creative world, and it seems like everyone else has their crap together, which they don't. False, not true, but I totally agree with you. Yeah, putting work out there. Yeah, and she said, I'm just preaching to myself right now. And yeah, I think you're so right. I think a lot of people feel that way, and it is a lot of work. And that's why I wasn't sure if you guys would be interested in a course about branding and marketing and business and like the cores, because I feel like that's literally how I became the photographer I am. But I think a lot of people don't want to do the hard work. And that's why I was nervous that maybe people would say, yeah, but I just want to watch you on a wedding day. I just want to, I just want to know what your camera settings are. But ultimately, like, that's not the answer. Branding and marketing and business, all this stuff is bigger than all those other things. Like, ultimately, that's the foundation. So you need that first. So that's going to be the first like paid educational piece of material that I put out, and then later on I may start talking about like technique and like skills and very like photography, just the photography and the art focus. But I feel like I'd be doing you guys a disservice to talk about all those things when you don't know how to attract the clients to begin with. Like, I don't want to talk about aperture and flash and posing when so many people are trying to figure out, how do I get the clients? And so I want to start with the business end in mind. That's just who I am. I feel like I'd be doing you a disservice. Okay, Christine says, I've been told that owning a photography business has very little to do with taking pictures. Everything behind the scenes is what it makes a business successful. I agree. Sadly, like, unfortunately, yes. I don't know if it should be that way. I mean, there are so many not successful, but like talented people who honestly, you might think deserve weddings and deserve success. But I have seen people who they don't have like this incredible, memorable, amazing, talented photography, at least in my opinion, but they're killing it in the business world. They're just killing it. They have clients every 5 seconds. They're making bank. They're happy. And I think that proves your point, Christine. I think it does. I think that branding and marketing and business do win out in the end. And they always will. And the sooner that we as photographers lean into that and just acknowledge, like, while that may not be cool, it is reality. So get good and work on your craft, but you cannot outshoot a good business owner. You cannot outpose a good marketer. That's just like, it needs to be like needlepoint on a pillow. It's so true. You can be a better business person and have more weddings, more money, more success than someone who's a better photographer, just because that's how life works. I think that's so fascinating. But yeah. All right, guys. So if you guys have any more questions, go ahead and throw them in right now. Do me a favor, give this video a thumbs up. Let me know if you learned anything new, if you're going to be implementing any of these 10 tips or things that you need to do before engagement season. I'm super excited for engagement season. It just, like, this year has flown by. I was thinking about it, and just, I'm excited for all of these weddings to like wrap up, for me to deliver all these final galleries and have lots of happy clients, but then like be done and have like a clean slate. It just makes me feel like refreshed. But then I was thinking, man, like, as I'm delivering all these galleries, I'm gonna have all these new meetings and new clients. So it's just sort of like constantly happening. There is no break, but that's what we signed up for, right? Like, that is the world of wedding photography and photography. Okay, Chelsea says, when will the ebook come out? I need so much marketing help and I need clients now. Chelsea, I I think it's going to be a full course, a video course with PDFs, with workbooks that you guys can go through, but you can go through them again and again. So videos that are completely exclusive for my students. So it's going to be like a really intensive, like hopefully incredibly informative and information-packed course. So it's not quick. That's the only problem. I just don't want to create anything that's lackluster. I want it to just sort of be everything that I promise and more, honestly. So I think very, very early next year. I'm hoping that I can announce a date very soon. But in the meantime, Chelsea, I don't know if you were here earlier, but I am offering 25% off only to people who can reference this live stream. So if you want a mentor session with me one-on-one where I can help you out with these things right now, and even specifically for your business, shoot me an email, send me a message, reference this live stream, and I'll give you 25% off coaching. Only for the first 10 people. So hopefully that can help you. But Chelsea, if you're on my mailing list, be sure that you're on my newsletter list. I sent out a newsletter this morning. So if you didn't get that, you might not be on my list. But the newsletter list and this Photoboss Facebook group will probably be the first to know when I put out a date, when I sell like a pre-sale or I have any kind of specials. I'm only going to be sharing those here with you guys and on the newsletter list. The rest of the world probably won't find out until the course is officially open, and they won't get any special deals or anything like that. That's for you guys. You guys are like my original supporters, my inside tribe, and I just really appreciate you guys. So you'll be the first to know for sure. Okay, Christine says, I guess I'm just stumped on creating photos and a portfolio with no wedding clients. I need the clients to shoot the photos, but I can't shoot the photos without the clients. Yeah, that's like the original, when I first started out, I was like, but which one comes first, the chicken or the egg? Like, so I totally know what you're saying. I would say, have you photographed any wedding themed styled shoots? Styled shoots are how I could essentially get around that a little bit and show that, like, if there was a couple in love, that I could pose them, that I could make them beautiful, that I could work at sunset, I could work in the day, I could shoot a cake and a table and all the things associated. And when I had that work, then I could go to a photographer, get second shooting work, and get work at a real wedding. So it's like I had to start with a fake styled shoot, then second shooting, then showing that off into the world, blogging a lot of this work that was like, it's not main weddings shooting, but it was my work, and sharing a lot of that just on like Facebook and Instagram, and then I was able to book my own wedding. So some people are able to get around this, you know, like everybody has a different business story, and they're sometimes able to just share like, hey, this is what I want to do, and they maybe do weddings for like free or really, really affordable for the couple, and the couple is willing to take that risk on them. So if you can get someone that would allow you to like shoot their wedding for like super cheap, just so you can say, hey, I shot this wedding, it was a real wedding, this was a real couple, sometimes that can be your in the industry. So I don't know what your in will be, but I would say look for more than one answer. Don't be too tunnel visioned on second shooting or too tunnel visioned on having your own weddings, like being the primary. Like there are other ways. So just look for all the possibilities, because every business is going to be different for sure. All right, guys, this has been super, super fun. Thank you guys all so much for watching. I will, of course, let the replay go up, and I will share my business branding books that I love, my honey book 50% off code, and a 25% off mentor sessions to the first 10 people who contact me. So I hope that you guys have a fantastic Tuesday, and that you'll excuse my ridiculous house. I will be painting and decorating hopefully in November. So if you want to see behind the scenes of that, follow me over on Instagram. I'm at Joy Michelle with 2 Y's. All right, guys, I appreciate you, and I hope that you have a fantastic day, and I will see you in our next live stream. Bye, guys.